So I don't really like using the term underrated, especially today, because it seems like now that the term has really lost its meaning. For example, the qualifications for somebody to call something underrated seems to be really loose. Like I saw somebody call regular show underrated, and it's just like, yeah, okay, sure, bro, go crawl back under your weird rock. And then there's also people who act like it's still like 2003 or whatever, and that nobody has played the Mother series, and they still call it underrated. And even though literally everybody has like played all of the games long ago at this point, and it's a ridiculously popular series, and despite that, no, it's still underrated. Nobody has played or appreciate those, and they're absolutely perfect masterpieces of no flaws or anything. And please localize Mother 3, even though the fan translation is probably way better than anything Nintendo would do, and it's free. To clarify, I do like the Mother series, but holy shit, that stuff really pisses me off and ruins the games for me. Anyway, sorry for opening up with that rant. My point is that I have some strict guidelines almost for calling something underrated. But despite that, I still think Mario Artist fits the qualifications for me to want to call it underrated. Now, Mario Paint, it's pretty cool. It's a game that not many people have maybe played for themselves, but everybody at least knows and has seen it and appreciates it. Like, everybody has seen that you paint on it, and everybody has seen the music stuff you can do on it, and there's been lots of videos of a song made in Mario Artist, and everybody knows the soundtrack for it. I mean, that one song in particular gets played on, like, everything. Its sequels on the N64 disk drive, however, are still not so lucky. And yeah, that probably does it right there. It came out on the disk drive, sadly. It had no choice, and I'm sure you all know that failed to sell well. It was never localized outside of Japan, and it's a huge shame because they had a lot of big ambitions and really awesome ideas for it, and this is just one of the casualties for it, and a lot of other games had to get their development changed for the normal hardware, and there's a F-Zero X expansion and everything. So yeah, I can't really blame people for not playing this. I mean, it's not their fault at all. It's not really an option they have. Like, either you have a disk drive and an N64 that can take Japanese copies and these games, or you can emulate it, and I don't even know how the fuck you can emulate this game. I know it's possible, there's a fan translation of it, but again, I just don't know how you go about it, especially since, sadly, a lot of N64 emulations, well, all of them today, still fucking suck absolute ass. So it's a huge shame, and man, I wish there was some alt-universe where the disk drive was successful. But yeah, despite that, I do wish that those who were able to play it not only showed it off more, but that people watched it more and seeked it out more often, because it's definitely a game that's worth looking at, as I'm making this video about. I feel like that the thing that people mostly know Mario Artist for is like with its processor, it's its music, and then maybe its atmosphere alongside it, but mainly the music. Its music sometimes gets played around on more popular channels, like Vinny has played it before, and music was used from this game in Mishkasa's Mario 64 Iceberg Explained video. Those are two examples I can think of off the top of my head, and I've used it in the past myself before. However, there's more to it than that, because there's a game in here, and I'll get to the atmosphere and stuff after that, but it's a lot like Wario Land 4 in a way, if it's weird atmosphere, and this won't be the last time I'll compare it to that game. But this game is actually a series of games that has like a different thing that you can do on each one, but I'm just going to treat it all as like one thing and just talk about everything you can do it as all once. But yes, as you can probably figure out, like the predecessor, you can paint in this game, and it has all of the absolute wonderment and wow and features of the paint program you'd see as a kid in the 90s. But it has a lot of options, but despite that, and there's a whole lot of charm to it, and many things you can do, and you can do it with a lot of people, multiplayer at once, and yeah, it's really great. It's a great feature. And you can animate in this with using the same functions. and there's a lot of tools that the game gives you to make the animation process go around real smoothly, and there's some demo examples that the devs already made, and it's really cool to see. Not only that, but there's 3D modeling stuff too. Well, first of all, a blend of the two subjects is that you can see these like big mini like diorama like worlds of different places. Like there's a futuristic space one, there's a dinosaur one, and there's an underwater one. And you can look around and you can like paint over the model's textures and edit them to how you please. And the thing that's really cool about this is that you can play and interact in them, and what you do is you go around and you take pictures of everything like in Pokemon Snap, but it's not on Rails. And you know, like once you find stuff, you like discover everything, you take pictures of it, then you can unlock it to use and edit it, and it's just a really awesome and chill, relaxing, cool way of going about that. And then you can make 3D models yourself, and you can use those in mini games, and they're all wild. And the mini games on here is actually where WarioWare came from. Speaking of Wario again, yes, it's exactly that. The original first set of mini games in the first WarioWare game comes like directly from this. Isn't that amazing? And not only that, but there's this big open world game that you can play with your 3D model, and fucking like you go around and you talk to people and you unlock abilities like flying eventually. And the whole entire big point of this big grand world is fucking talking to this chef at the very tip of the sky, and one way you have to like avoid its pastries like trying to eat you or whatever. And it's so awesome, and I fucking loved the shit off this game as a kid. There's just so much to do, and I will spend so many hours with it, because you just go to your fucking creative limits in this game. And you know, there's off the painting, and then there's the 3D models. Like you can make like anything you want, and you can practically have like the main character be anything you want in this like little video game. And I would have absolutely fucking died for that as a kid. And you know, like the sky really was the limits of what you can do with your imagination. And the thing that tops off this, as I mentioned before, is the game's incredible music and atmosphere. It just goes hand to hand together. Like, I can't put it to words. You have to see it for yourself, and I'm sure at least most people have glanced at it, but like the music just fits so perfectly. Everything has such a unique quirk, and it's so fucking amazing. It's such a shame that not very many people have still seen it yet. And I'm thinking of like the fucking 3D Model Maker music and just how funny it is. And then there's even some music that almost comes across as creepy sometimes, just how jarring and sudden it's like with the unicycle mini game where you have to pedal. And a lot of the time it's just also super relaxing and chill. People love using the ocean level music. Like again, it was in the Mishka's Iceberg video, and there's just so much to love. And So Kawaii is probably the most famous song from the game, and if you don't know what it is out of the top of your head, you probably have heard before once you look it up yourself. But yeah, Mario Artist just takes everything that was great about the original Mario Paint, aside from the music stuff sadly, but just absolutely amplifies it to the point where it has this super unique, fascinating, awesome quirks to it, and fantastic soundtracks, and the absolute best fucking atmosphere you can see in a game. And fucking, like, again, it's like Wario Land 4, how people have been talking about the soundtrack and sound design that's really unique and like nothing else to that game more often. And like, if you can find it, I suggest that you just look for this game. And you know, sadly, I've been saying how not many people have shown it off yet, and you know it's a fucking problem when I have to resort to OnlyPlays to find most footage of the features in this game. And by the way, that's probably the only series from that channel I can tolerate watching anymore. Anyway, I actually do recommend that you do look at that. Like, the stupidity aside, they actually go through like a good amount of the game's features, and it's great. Like, they have like the photo taking feature, exploring the level that I've talked before here. And I believe Finney streamed the game once, and he skimmed through a lot of things from remember, but I know he spent a submission of time in the mini games and maybe a little bit in the big grand overworld. And I think Joel used this game before too, but only the paint stuff for Bob Ross. But yeah, if you want to see that, then go ahead. But again, I recommend mostly checking out Finney's stream, and then that's OnlyPlays series. Again, it's the one that I think is the best by far, especially now. But yeah, Mario Artist, man, like, just fucking please look at this game, appreciate its atmosphere, appreciate its features, and absorb it all in, and you know, give it more spotlight, give it more attention. I doubt Nintendo will ever make a game just like this ever again. It's such a fucking shame that I had no choice but to fail because of the disk drive. And again, I really wish there was some world where it could succeed more, but maybe we can. Maybe if we give this game more attention, maybe it can become more easily accessible and open to emulate. And, you know, again, tying back to Wario Land 4, I don't know if I would ever call Wario Land 4 underrated, maybe sort of. It was definitely a less talked about game before, but people have really been appreciating that game a lot more often. I allude to those videos that have talked about sound design, and you know, Pizza Tower and Anton have been coming out, and that's directly, very obviously based on Wario Land 4, and people have been super appreciating that game now, which is great because it's an awesome game, even though unfortunately it's probably only a matter of time until a fucking cartridge-only copy goes for like $100 fucking on eBay, god damn it. But yeah, Mario Artist, regardless, let's just get this game more love, please. I don't care how much used copies go to it. N64 prices have already become stupid, but please just give more love to Mario Artist. Listen to the music more. Try to play the game more. Try to show it off more. Do whatever you can. Thank you. Woohoo!